Good morning, India. Good morning, humanity. I was talking about Ambedkar's stand on partition. Last night, I had a discussion with Dr. Anand Telkumre, and he confirmed that Dr. Ambedkar had not been a party in partition, and he was not considered by the cabinet mission, and he had nothing to do with the cabinet proposals. Other people finalized the cabinet mission proposals. It is very clear that Mr. Pandit Nehru and Mr. Jinnah and even Mr. Syama Prasad Mukherjee, the leader of Hindutva camp, this trio knew about the cabinet mission proposals, and they cared most to implement those proposals in 1946. Still then, India and Pakistan, both polities were under British Empire to autonomous dominions. And the constitution written to rule India, to maintain law and order, to ensure social, political and economic justice is in accordance with the cabinet proposals finalized. It happened ditto in Pakistan. Mr. Jogennath Mandal wrote constitution there, and Dr. Ambedkar wrote constitution here. Neither Jogendranath Mandal had been involved in the process of partition, nor Dr. Ambedkar was involved in the process of partition. The correspondence between Jogennath Mandal and Dr. Ambedkar clearly shows that they could not do anything because the cabinet commission did not consider them. Neither the cabinet mission considered the Sikhs, and the Sikh leaders had nothing to do, and other communities also were deprived. It was a two nations theory. Only the Hindu leaders and the Muslim leaders were the only entities who were considered by cabinet mission, because British Empire had already agreed on the claims of Indian Hindu and Muslim League leaders claim to partition India. And as the Hindutva camp is not only Congress, mind you, as it is shown that Congress and Muslim League divided the country. It is not like that. Of course, Muslim League was pushing for Islamic nation, a Islamic homeland, and the Hindutva forces used Muslim League to make India Hindu. Congress was representing the Hindutva forces, even the forces of Hindu Mahasabha and Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. And in the Constituent Assembly, Netaji was absent, as Muslim League was absent. Nehru presented the proposals and Shyama Prasad Mukherjee monitored the process of constitution drafting. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee ensured that the constitutional framework should be in accordance with the cabinet proposals. And we Indians are not aware of the minutes, the deals, the correspondence, the conversation, the interactions and the details of those cabinet proposals. We may not know the conspiracies to hold on power. That's it. Now, the logical question arises, I have to come to this point. What was the role of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi? Ambedkar has been made the Dalit icon, the god of Dalits. And M.K. Gandhi is branded as Mahatma Gandhi, Bapu, the nation of the father. Was the father interested at all to divide the country? Had he any role? Or he was as much as helpless as Dr. Ambedkar had been? Dr. Ambedkar and Jogennath Mandal realized just after 1942, as Netaji left India, that he knew that the fall of British Empire is imminent and it is the best opportunity to free India. It is the best opportunity for independent India. And Congress was not interested, Hindutva forces were not interested to make united India free. Muslim League was not adopted by the Muslim population of India until Fazlul Haq and Simant Gandhi were in the mainstream politics. Simant Gandhi was representing that geopolitics which is out of Indian nation now, and Fazlul Haq represented that geography in the east which is not a part of India nowadays, that is Bangladesh, and in the west it is Pakistan. Simant Gandhi and Fazlul Haq ensured, and they could ensure that India should be united. Netaji went that far that he tried to have an alliance with Hitler on the line of Stalin. And Stalin signed the agreement to stop capitalism, the imperialist United States of America and the imperialist United Kingdom, the British Empire. That's the urgency for Stalin, and Hitler betrayed him. Hitler also betrayed Netaji, and Netaji wanted united India, and he knew that the transfer of power was imminent. In the same way, Baba Sahib and Jagannath Mandal were aware of the imminent transfer of power, and they wanted to ensure economic, social and political rights. They were engaged to defend the interest, the life and property and reputation, identity and citizenship of those Hindus who had to be stranded in East and West Pakistan. Hence, Baba Sahib advised Jagannath Mandal to stay in Pakistan and to align with Muslim League so that the interests of the stranded Hindus would be debated. And Jagannath Mandal, for this cause, had to sacrifice his political life, and he is considered as betrayer. It is the ditto case with Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, as cabinet mission talked to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, it is very clear that cabinet mission had to consider Mr. M.K. Gandhi, because everybody knows that Gandhi was the supreme commander, and Netaji also knew that, and before entering Indian border with his Azad Hind force to free India, he wrote to Gandhiji seeking permission to enter India because he considered Gandhiji the first citizen of India. And that's it. But Gandhiji declared मेरी लाश पर पाकिस्तान बनेगा. It means he was against partition. He advised that Congress party should be diluted. Congress party should not have the power, because Congress party was a forum, and he was absolutely correct. Netaji was speaking to make Congress party the forum of Indian people fighting for freedom. Netaji wanted all the democratic, secular and progressive forces should join Congress, and Congress should accommodate them. And rather keeping the secular, democratic and progressive forces, Congress actually handled by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, opted for Hindutva forces, opted for Hindu Mahasabha and RSS to achieve a Hindu nation. And this two nation theory got rolling. It had not to be, because Fazlul Haq was the leader of the peasantry, and Fazlul Haq and Netaji were two persons who had stopped Muslim League and Hindutva forces in United Bengal, and they had nothing to do until Fazlul Haq was the Prime Minister of Bengal and Netaji had been at home. No Muslim in Bengal was supporting Muslim League, which was constituted in Dhaka in 1901 at the initiative of the Nawab of Dhaka, because it was a Bahujan Samaj working in East Bengal and all over Bengal and all over Northeast and East India since, and even Central India, since Chuad revolt to Indigo revolt, from Bhil revolt to Santhal revolt to Munda revolt and Sannasi Vidroh, and then ultimately it was Tebhaga movement which was there. The bloodshed in eastern part of India was not replicated in the bloodshed that was the herald of the imminent Holocaust was announced by direct action in Kolkata under Muslim regime. Mr. Suhrawardy was the Prime Minister of Bengal then. And the Holocaust initiated in Noakhali. Other parts of Bengal had not seen that bloodshed that was witnessed in the western part of India. In North India against Muslims, and in East Pakistan that was ethnic cleansing of Hindu and Sikh population. It was not the transfer of population as the cabinet proposal meant. It was ethnic cleansing. It was riots countrywide. And the riots continue till this day. The Holocaust continues till this day. The transfer of population means the refugee influx continues across the border till this day. India has not resolved the refugee problem as yet. India has not addressed the refugee problem as yet. India has not signed the International Charter on the Rights of Refugees as yet. It is the status. Did Gandhi was in a position to intervene? No, not at all. Gandhiji was not in a position, as Ambedkar was not in a position, because two camps, the Muslim camps and the Hindutva camp, they were adamant to partition India at any cost, and they were adamant to make a Hindu nation and to make a Muslim nation. The Hindutva forces aligned in India in the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, and it was Gandhi's fault. We have to be objective, and the approach should be scientific, and we have to be merciless to face the fact it was the fault of Mr. M.K. Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi and Bapu that he preferred Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru instead of Netaji, instead of Sardar Patel. It is the basic fault. It is the Himalayan blunder that united the Hindutva forces under Nehru. And those Hindutva forces created the Mahajin, the Muslim League. Even Mr. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was not serious about Islam. He was not serious about an Islamic state. He was not serious about Muslim League at all. He was a successful barrister. He never lost a case. Gandhi was a barrister. Jawaharlal Nehru was also a barrister. Comrade Jyoti Basu had been a barrister, but they were not professional barristers. Jinnah was a professional barrister, and he was calculating very well. He was adding and deducting. He did not support the cause of Muslim nation until it was a reality. And Fazlul Haq ministry enacted the first legislation in India to ensure the rights of riots, the rights of the peasantry, and it was his interim government in Bengal which passed the legislation. The cabinet papers released by Mamata Banerjee proves it, as the Netaji documents released by Mamata Banerjee proves that Netaji was not a fascist. He wanted a united India. Fazlul Haq was in favor of a united India. Netaji wanted Congress to support Fazlul Haq. Instead, Congress withdrew support to Fazlul Haq, and Congress helped Muslim League to get in the helms of Bengal, and subsequent two governments were led by Muslim League. And Baba Saheb and Dr. and Jagannath Mandal had no option at all but to align with Muslim League to ensure the rights and haqq of Dalits in either part of Pakistan, in West Pakistan and in East Pakistan, and even in United Bengal, because the Muslim League emerged a major force, the deciding force after Netaji left India, after the demise of Fazlul Haq, and that is Gandhiji was the first man who was a real Hindu. At the same time, he was against the Pagal Daur, which we call the privatization, liberalization, globalization today. Even Einstein did not consider this advancement of technology, this scientific progress with machines as the progress of civilization. And Gandhi considered it pagal thought. Gandhi respected labor. Gandhi in सेवाग्राम, गांधी ने कहा था कि श्रम के बिना खाना हराम है। विनोबा भावे को जो पैसे सूत काटने से मिलते थे, कम पड़ते थे, विनोबा भावे को भूखो रहना पड़ता था। तब बापू ने उनसे पूछा, आप अपनी सेहत का ख्याल करें। तब भावे ने कहा था कि बिना श्रम खाना हजम है और मुझे जितनी मजदूरी सूत काटने की मिलती है, मैं पूरा खाना नहीं खा सकता। तब जाके गांधी ने सूत काटने की मजदूरी बताई। इसके गवाह उस वक्त जो थे सेवाग्राम में, जो आज भी हैं, वो हैं। सेवाग्राम में एक टेलीफोन है गांधी के शयन कक्ष में। इट वॉज द ओनली वन वे टेलीफोन आई हैव सीन। Gandhi never called back to British rulers. The British rulers called him because he was the leader of the nation. He was leader of Jawaharlal Nehru. He was the leader of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He was the leader of Simanto Gandhi. All the progressive, secular, democratic forces in India. But the Sangh Parivar, RSS and Hindu Mahasabha never did consider Mahatma Gandhi their leader. It is the puzzle. It is the puzzle which has to solve the murder of Mahatma Gandhi, who was killed by Nathuram Godse. But the real killer was not Nathuram Godse. It was the Hindutva forces which wanted to kill him. A film by Kamal Hassan, Hiram, and the story of Saket Ram explains very well what the Hindutva movement, what the Mission Hindutva wanted and how they wanted to kill M.K. Gandhi, and attempts were made to kill Gandhi. It is not because that Gandhi wanted partition. It is not because that Gandhi divided India. It is because Gandhi wanted to stop the partition. Gandhi wanted to stop the Holocaust. It is just Gandhi wanted to stop the Hindu nation. He was the first man who introduced Ram in Indian politics. He died with his last word, He Ram. And it was Gandhi who linked religion with politics. He was doing the Hindutva politics, and Gandhian Hindutva was hijacked by Hindutva forces represented by Hindu Mahasabha and RSS. This is very, very ironical, and Gandhi had to be sacrificed because Gandhi was speaking unity. Gandhi was speaking fraternity, because Gandhi did not consider Pakistan the enemy of India. That's it. Now let me speak something in Hindi. हमारे ताऊ जी 100 साल की उम्र में मरे 2006 में नई दिल्ली में। वे बसंतीपुर लौटना चाहते थे, हम उनको घर लौटा नहीं पाए क्योंकि उनकी कमर की हड्डी खिसक गई थी और ऑपरेशन हो गया था, चिकित्सा दिल्ली में हो सकती थी। मरने से पहले तक मेरे ताऊ ने कभी गांधी और नेहरू को माफ नहीं किया। मेरे घर में वो अकेले व्यक्ति थे जो हिंदू महासभा, राष्ट्रीय स्वयं जनसंघ और भारतीय जनता पार्टी का समर्थन करते थे, क्योंकि उनको यह मालूम था और उनको यह विश्वास था कि भारत का विभाजन गांधी ने कराया। That's it. सीमाओं के आर पार, सरहदों के आर पार लोग यह समझते हैं कि भारत के विभाजन के लिए गांधी जिम्मेदार है। जैसे बंगाल में लोगों को समझाया गया कि बंगाल के विभाजन के लिए जुगेन्द्रनाथ मंडल जिम्मेदार है। How ridiculous! Cabinet mission met Dr. B.R. Ambedkar twice, but Dr. B.R. Ambedkar could not contribute anything in cabinet proposals, and ironically he had to write Indian Constitution which was in accordance with cabinet commission proposals. In the same way, cabinet commission did not consider Jugendrath Mandal a party, and Jugendrath Mandal had no discussion, no interaction with cabinet commission, and he had not contributed to cabinet commission proposals, and he had to write the constitution of Pakistan in accordance with cabinet commission proposals. That is it. Gandhi ji was the decisive force to make Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru the Prime Minister of India at the cost of Sardar Patel. And the forces which wanted and which worked with surgical precision to partition India, to get hold of power in independent India, independent Pakistan, those forces were aligned with Nehru. It is the historical fact. Gandhi was sidelined. Gandhi had been sidelined in the process of transfer to power. Gandhi was sidelined in the process of the transfer of population, despite the meetings of Gandhiji with Lord Mountbatten, despite the fact that Gandhi agreed to make India and Pakistan separate. Gandhi agreed to the principle of two-nation theory because Gandhi had no option at all. Gandhi had no option at all. Gandhi was captured by the Hindutva forces, and it is the contradiction of Gandhian ideology. It is the contradiction of the personality of Bapu that he succumbed, his ideology succumbed to the conspiracies of Hindutva and Islamic national theory. It is the greatest contradiction, it is the greatest puzzle of this geopolitics that has been our life. And the meeting between Lord Mountbatten and Mahatma Gandhi was hyped so much so, and the cabinet proposals were not talked about at all. The bargaining, the conspiracies, the informal interactions by Hindutva leaders and Muslim leaders with the British Empire have not been disclosed at all, and only the meeting between Gandhi and Lord Mountbatten is highlighted. Every citizen of this geopolitics hence consider Gandhi the main culprit for their plight, and that's it. The refugees from every corner of this country treats Gandhi as their enemy, and this was the psyche which killed Gandhi. This was the psyche which was inflicted in Godse, and this is the psyche which wants to kill Gandhiji even after his death, after almost 7 decades. And hence, those people who believe in Nathuram Godse, the phenomenon of Nathuram Godse, that is the phenomenon ditto of the Hindutva agenda to make India Hindu within 2020, to make the globe Hindu within 2030. This is the ditto phenomenon which creates the temples, the idols of Nathuram Godse, and which wants to kill the soul of the nation. And the soul was Gandhi. And Gandhiji was bleeding, and the bloodshed was revealed in Noakhali. I am in Sodhpur. I am hardly 5 minutes away from Panihati Gandhi Ashram, where Gandhiji stayed after he visited Noakhali, where Gandhi, tired and defeated, weeping alone, stayed because he could not stop the riots in India, in Pakistan, in Kolkata. He had to witness women raped. He had to witness humanity being killed. And Gandhi was bleeding, and Gandhi was staying in Panihati. I can feel the warmth of the bleeding even after 7 decades. And you won't see the blood, but the white kurta I am wearing, it is full of blood. It is the blood of Gandhi. It is the blood of Gandhian ideology which wanted to resist the पागल दौड़. और आज हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था पागल दौड़ है. आज ये मेकिंग इन पागल दौड़ है. ये जो अस्मिताओं की लड़ाई है, ये जो जाति युद्ध है, ये पागल दौड़ है जिसका विरोध गांधी करते थे और हारे हुए गांधी, लहूलुहान गांधी, नुआखाली के दंगों से लौटे गांधी, कोलकाता के डायरेक्ट एक्शन को रोकने में नाकाम गांधी, हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान के दंगों को रोकने में नाकाम गांधी, भारत का विभाजन रोकने में नाकाम गांधी। इसी सोदपुर के पानीहाटी गांधी आश्रम में अकेले आंसू बहा रहे थे और उनकी आत्मा से खून बह रहा था। आप गौर से देखें तो पूरे देश में आज जो खून बह रहा है वह दरअसल गांधी की आत्मा से बहता हुआ खून है। जो गोली चली थी 30 जनवरी 1948 को प्रार्थना सभा में एक संत की हत्या के लिए, उस गोली से जो खून की नदियां बह निकली थी वो नदियां आज भी बह रही है। अब हम लोग जाति और अस्मिताओं के गुलाम। डॉक्टर बाबा साहब अंबेडकर जाति उन्मूलन करना चाहते थे और जाति का नाश हो ऐसा हिंदू समाज मानने को तैयार नहीं था। इसलिए गांधी ने, अंबेडकर ने कहा मैं जन्मा हिंदू हूं लेकिन हिंदू मैं मरूंगा नहीं। इसलिए उन्होंने बौद्ध धर्म अपनाया, क्योंकि गौतम बुद्ध का रास्ता शांति का रास्ता था, अहिंसा का रास्ता था, न्याय का रास्ता था, समता का रास्ता था। अंबेडकर का रास्ता भी वही था। अंबेडकर उसी बौद्धमय भारत में लौटना चाहते थे। अंबेडकर बौद्धमय भारत बनाना चाहते थे, लेकिन अंबेडकर को हिंदू राष्ट्र ने अपना ईश्वर बना दिया। पहले कांग्रेस ने अंबेडकर को दलित नेता के तौर पे उनका जितना दोहन संभव था कर लिया और बाद में संघ परिवार अंबेडकर का पूरा इस्तेमाल कर रहा है, क्योंकि दलितों का समर्थन सत्ता बहाल रखने के लिए, मनुस्मृति सत्ता बहाल रखने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है। गांधी को न कांग्रेस पूछती है न गांधी को संघ परिवार पूछता है। अगर गांधी जिम्मेदार होते भारत विभाजन के तो पंडित नेहरू और संघ परिवार के राष्ट्रीय नेताओं के ऊपर गांधी होते, गांधी जिन्ना के भी ऊपर होते, लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है। न पाकिस्तान में कोई गांधी को याद करता है, न बांग्लादेश में गांधी को कोई याद करता है, न भारत में गांधी को कोई याद करता है। We have to keep in our mind very honestly that Gandhi did not want this Holocaust. Gandhi wanted to stop this Holocaust. Gandhi wanted to stop the riots. But he ended as he chose his legacy in Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Gandhi ended in the tragedy of partition of India. This is the Greek tragedy enacted in India. अब जाति का आलम यह है कि लोग भूल जाते हैं अस्मिताओं के दायरे से बाहर कि ब्राह्मणवाद के विरुद्ध लड़ाई ब्राह्मणों ने भी लड़ी। कौटिल्य सबसे बड़े उदाहरण। इस देश में बहुजन समाज चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य को अपना सम्राट मानते हैं और उसी को दलितों का एम्पावर मानते हैं। चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के राज्याभिषेक और चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के जन्म दिन मनाते हैं। और उस चंद्रगुप्त मौर्य के राज्याभिषेक के पीछे एक ब्राह्मण थे, कौटिल्य। आज जो मैं बोलता हूँ, लिखता हूँ, मेरे पीछे भी ब्राह्मणों का योगदान है। मेरे प्रथम गुरु पीताम्बर पंत ब्राह्मण थे और मेरे विचारों को तराशने वाले और मेरी दृष्टि को वैज्ञानिक दृष्टि बनाने वाले मेरे गुरु ताराचंद त्रिपाठी थे, जिन्होंने मुझे जिंदगी का एक मकसद दिया, जिनके घर में रहा, जिन्होंने मुझे होटल से उठाकर अपने घर में रखा, वो ताराचंद त्रिपाठी थे, वो ब्राह्मण थे। इलाहाबाद में मैं शेखर जोशी के घर था। शेखर जोशी हिंदी के कथाकार, उपन्यासकार है और वो ब्राह्मण थे। मैं इसलिए वहां रुका क्योंकि शैलेश मटियानी के घर, जिनके घर में रुकना चाहता था, उनके घर कोई जगह नहीं थी और मुझे शेखर जोशी के घर रुकना पड़ा और उस घर ने मेरे साथ बेटे की तरह बर्ताव किया। आज जो मैं बोलता हूँ, जो मैं लिखता हूँ, आप तक जो पहुंचता है, उसके पीछे भी एक ब्राह्मण है, अमलेंदु उपाध्याय। और हस्तक्षेप के लिए, अमलेंदु के लिए जो मैं मदद की गुहार करता हूं, जो मुझे 20 साल से सुन रहे हैं लगातार, जो मेरे साथी हैं देश भर में, जो दलितों और बहुजनों के अधिकार के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, किसानों के अधिकार के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, मैं जानता हूं वो हिचकते हैं हस्तक्षेप की मदद करने के लिए, क्योंकि वो संपादक है हस्तक्षेप के, अमलेंदु उपाध्याय, जो कि ब्राह्मण है। यह बहुत बड़ी तरह से, यह जो जाति की आइडेंटिटी है, यह मजबूत हुई है पूना पैक्ट से। पूना पैक्ट ने जनता को अपना प्रतिनिधि चुनने का अधिकार से वंचित कर दिया। पूना पैक्ट में जनता जो प्रावधान रिजर्वेशन और कोटा का किया गया, वो दरअसल राजनीतिक आरक्षण है। वो दरअसल पूना पैक्ट जो हुआ, वो दरअसल सत्ता में भागीदारी का समझौता है, समता और न्याय का समझौता नहीं है। और संविधान सभा में अंबेडकर ने एकदम 2 टूक शब्दों में कहा कि अगर भारत में सामाजिक न्याय और आर्थिक न्याय और राजनीतिक न्याय को सुनिश्चित करना है और उसका लक्ष्य हासिल करना है, तो एकमात्र रास्ता समाजवाद का हो सकता है। नेहरू को कामयाबी जो मिली, वो समाजवाद का रास्ता अपनाने के कारण मिली। इंदिरा गांधी जो इतनी मजबूत लीडर बनकर आई, वह समाजवाद का रास्ता अपनाने के कारण। गांधी श्रम को सबसे ज्यादा महत्व देते थे और कहते थे बिना श्रम खाना हजम है, और अंबेडकर ने श्रमिकों के सारे हक हकूक कायम किए। अंबेडकर संपत्ति और संसाधनों का राष्ट्रीयकरण चाहते थे, जो शक्ति के तमाम स्रोत होते हैं उन पर सबका समान हिस्सा चाहते थे। अंबेडकर समता और न्याय चाहते थे और इसके लिए वो अस्मिता की बात नहीं कर रहे थे, वो जाति उन्मूलन की बात कर रहे थे, वो समाजवाद की बात कर रहे थे। इस पर बहुत ज्यादा गौर करने की जरूरत है। और 1991 से भारत ने समाजवाद का रास्ता छोड़ दिया, अंतरराष्ट्रीय संबंधों में छोड़ दिया। राजनय में समाजवाद खत्म, राजनीति में समाजवाद खत्म, तब से हिंदुत्व का बोलबाला है। हमारी राजनीति हिंदुत्व की राजनीति है, हमारी राजनय हिंदुत्व की राजनीति है, हमारा मुक्त बाजार हिंदुत्व का मुक्त बाजार जो गांधीवाद के खिलाफ है। और तो और जो संघ परिवार की बुनियादी अवधारणा राष्ट्र की है, जो संघ परिवार की बुनियादी अवधारणा स्वदेश की है, जो पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय के विचार हैं, जो गुरु गोलवलकर के विचार है, विदेशी हस्तक्षेप के खिलाफ, स्वदेशी अर्थव्यवस्था का उसके खिलाफ है। तो जिस हिंदुत्व के रास्ते को हमने अपना लिया वह कुल मिलाकर ना गांधी का हिंदुत्व है, ना जाति उन्मूलन के तहत बने हुए एकताबद्ध भारत, एकताबद्ध हिंदुत्व का हिंदुत्व है यह, और ना यह गुरु गोलवलकर या पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय का हिंदुत्व है। यह हिंदुत्व विशुद्ध सियासती हिंदुत्व है, और यह सियासत बिल्कुल मजहबी सियासत है। और यही वजह है सियासत, मजहब और हुकूमत का त्रिशूल हमारे दिलो दिमाग में बिधा हुआ है, और हम राजनीतिक विचारधारा के नाम पर, राजनीतिक पार्टियों के नाम पर, जातियों और अस्मिताओं और मजहबों में बटे हुए लोग हैं। हम भारत के नागरिक नहीं रह गए हैं, और मुझे शक है कि हम इंसान भी कितने रह गए हैं। इंसान अगर हम होते तो कायनात के बारे में सोचते, इंसान अगर हम होते तो रहमतों के बारे में सोचते, बरकतों और नियामतों का ख्याल करते। हम पहाड़ों, समुद्र, नदियों, मरुस्थल, रण, महाअरण्य, प्राकृतिक संसाधनों, जल संसाधनों, अनाज, खाद्य और जनता की बेसिक जरूरतों के बारे में भी हम सोचते। हमको गरीबों के पेट में जो भूख की आग है वह हमको जला रही होती, युवा जनों के जो कटे हुए हाथ पांव है उसके बाद हम सो नहीं पाते, जो औद्योगिक व्यवस्था चौपट है, जो कारोबार चौपट है, जो कल कारखाने बंद है, उससे जो हुजूम का हुजूम, लोग बेरोजगार हो रहे हैं, उत्पादन प्रणाली से जो बहिष्कार चल रहा है, जो विदेशी पूंजी, विदेशी हितों का आकेट गाह बनकर मृत्यु उपत्यका और गैस चैम्बर में तब्दील है यह देश, उसकी जनता के लिए हमारे दिल में दर्द ही होता। ऐसा नहीं, ऐसा नहीं। तो कुल मिलाकर आप भी सोचे, और इस पर बहस होना बहुत जरूरी है कि कितने जिम्मेदार अंबेडकर भारत के विभाजन के लिए थे। अंबेडकर ने कांग्रेस और गांधी के साथ भारत के विभाजन पर कोई समझौता किया था या नहीं? बंगाल के विभाजन और भारत के विभाजन में जोगेंद्रनाथ मंडल की कोई भूमिका थी या नहीं? हम ये जानने की कोशिश करें कि सीमांत गांधी क्या सोचते थे, नेताजी के अखंड राष्ट्र की क्या अवधारणा थी, और फजलुल हक किसानों के कितने बड़े लीडर थे, और ये तमाम लोग अखंड भारत चाहते थे। आज यही तक यह बहस चलती रहेगी, और हमें आपके हस्तक्षेप का इंतजार रहेगा, क्योंकि हम एकल आलाप या एक तरफा संवाद के पक्ष में कतई नहीं है। हम चाहते हैं मुकम्मल संवाद। हमें आपके हस्तक्षेप का इंतजार है। पढ़ते रहिए हस्तक्षेप। धन्यवाद, धन्यवाद।